There's a group of people who are already billionaires, and mostly there's a group of people who are continuously supplying stock. Who are those people? That's one of the indicators I watch, by the way. It's an important indicator for me. Insiders. Insider stock sales have never been this high in the history of stock markets. For the past 6 months, including Nvidia, insiders have been selling shares. Now, justifiably so. They're looking at the companies. Most of them, by the way, are not selling because they think their stock is going to tank. They have these programs, right? Called, I think it's called 51B. If they're automatic sales, when the stock gets to a certain point, they have it already, registered to be sold. But this is one indicator I'm kind of watching. Now, this indicator works much better when insiders are buying, without a question. So in 2008, when the GFC happened, insiders were buying their shares right and left because their companies were undervalued. Insiders selling, not as much, but at this quantity and at this level, it kind of is giving me like a little bit of a cautious attitude, because it has never reached this level. And look, they have made their company success. They deserve the wealth that they're getting, and they're cashing out. Are they cashing out completely every share that they hold? No, but there's a ratio, insider buys to insider sells, that kind of shows the general health of the market, because who knows a company better than an insider? If you're the CEO, CFO, CTO of a company, or CIO, whatever you are, any C or any executive who is entitled to RSUs. RSUs are restricted stock units or stock options. I mean, you're there every day, day to day. You know what the company is going to do. You know what the company is going to do in the future. So your livelihood depends on it, besides your paycheck, because these RSUs, restricted stock units, mean a lot more to them than the paycheck that they're getting. Okay. So that's how they create generational wealth themselves. So when they're selling at a ratio that I'm seeing right now, it's kind of giving me a little bit of a warning signs. And this is the Kobesi letter, hats off. U.S. executives are selling stock at extreme levels. The ratio of insider sellers to buyers hit nearly 6x. 6x usually doesn't happen. Okay, the average is about 2x. Usually there's always more sellers than buyers, but I'm going to read the chart to you guys on the right, and you can keep an eye on it. The ratio of insider sellers to buyers hit nearly 6x, the most in at least 2 decades. This is a long period of time, people. You got to pay attention to this metric here. This is double the average seen over the last 3 years. This also exceeds the previous record of 5x seen in 2021, before the bear market began. When was that? When the Fed started raising rates, right? When the market, it was a bear market of 35%. After the historic market run, corporate insiders are taking profits on their own stocks. Why executives are selling so much stock? Great question. Well, here it is in the oval. That's 6x up here. Now, let's look at, this is the S&P 500 going back to 2005. Every time it dips, okay, this ratio shrinks. Why? Because insider buyers versus sellers, more buyers step up than sellers. Every time the bottom is in, that ratio shrinks to less than 2. In fact, it gets to like 1. And when it gets to 1, that means insiders are stepping out, buying shares, and they're not buying it with somebody's money. They're not borrowing this money from the company to buy. They're buying it with their hard-earned cash. That's a great sign. And every time the market bottoms, you can see that ratio dip. And selling is not a great indicator of a market top. Like here, let's say last time we reached over 5, market did not top for solid maybe 6 months after that. And then we had the bear market when the Fed was raising rates. Okay. Now we're here and the ratio is 6 to 1. A little bit of caution. Doesn't tell me anything about the top of the market, doesn't tell me anything. But all these things are my tea leaves that I read, and I keep it in my head. Okay, what's my daily put call ratio? That's short term. Insiders are selling a lot. That's long term. What's the AAII sentiment? It's like in 30%. It's pretty bullish. So that means everybody is bullish. How much money is going into ETFs? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you guys a flavor of what kind of tea leaves I'm reading. Does that work on zero DTEs? No, of course not. But I want to have this bigger macro picture, right? And then once I create this picture in my head without trying to create any bias, I am not saying market's topping. I am not bearish. If any of you get that out of this, that means you're creating your own bias. I am not saying that whatsoever. Charts don't lie. Higher highs, higher lows. I am not smart enough to pick a top.